Hi everyone, I am going to report about Asian regionalism. So let's talk about first Asia. So Asia is one of the continents in the world and it is also considered as a region. So it has sub-regions which are the North Asia, Central Asia, West Asia, East Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, where the Philippines belong. So what is regionalism? The theory or practice of regional rather than central systems of administration, of economic and cultural or political affiliation. It is also there is another meaning of regionalism, which is a strong feeling of pride or loyalty that people in a region have for that specific um, region. What is Asian regionalism? So it is a product of economic interaction between Asian countries. For example, Philippines is exporting products made by China, or else we are um, importing goods or rice from Vietnamese or Malaysian. In the early stages of Asia's economic take-off, regional integration proceeded slowly. These Asian economies focuses on exporting to developed country markets. Who are these Asia's economies? This is the country of China, or specifically China. Why countries form regional organizations to cope with challenges of globalization? For example, there is a certain issue in the globalization, at least the countries of Asia work together to cope and have a defense mechanism so that the economy um, will not be or will not fall.
What is the difference between regionalization and globalization? So, in regionalization, it is a process of dividing an area into a smaller segments called regions. It is the division of area, while globalization is a process by which the people of the world are unified into a single society and function together. There is a interconnectedness of people and there is a interrelation and association. So there are two segments, which is regionalism and regionalization. Regionalism is the theory of or practice of regional rather than central systems of administration of economic, cultural, or political affiliation. Basically, their goal here is to increase political power and influence in other regions. So instead of having centralized government, instead of having a centralized administration, while in regionalization, it is the division of a nation into states or provinces. So the difference of regionalization and globalization in nature. So, globalization promotes the integration of economics across states, borders all around the world. But in regionalization is precisely the opposite because it is dividing an area into a smaller segments. So as to market, globalization allows many companies to trade on international level. So it allows free market, but in regionalized system, monopolies are likely to develop. As to cultural and societal relation, Globalization accelerates to multiculturalism by free and inexpensive movement of people, but regionalization does not support this. As to aid, globalized international community is also more willing to come to the aid of a country stricken by a natural disaster, but a regionalized system does not get involved in the affairs of other areas. As to technological advances, globalization has driven great advances in technology, but advanced technology is rarely available in one country or region.
What is an example of regionalism? An example of regionalism is the European Union or EU. The EU is a political and economic union of European countries that have come together to promote peace, economic cooperation, and political stability in the region. Member countries have pulled their sovereignty in various areas such as trade, currency, the euro, and common policies to achieve common goals and strengthen their collective influence on the global stage. The European Union is a significant example of regionalism, as it demonstrates how countries within a specific geographic region can work closely together for mutual benefits. And another example of regionalism is the North American Free Trade Agreement or NAFTA, which was in place until 2020 when it was replaced by the United States Mexico Canada Agreement or USMCA. NAFTA was a regional trade agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Its primary purpose was to eliminate trade barriers and promote economic cooperation within North America. Under NAFTA, these three countries formed one of the world's largest free trade zones, allowing for the movement of goods, services, and investments without many tariffs and trade restrictions. This agreement is an illustration of regionalism, focused on economic integration and cooperation within a specific geographic region. So that's how important regionalism is, because it's because the country will benefits it.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of regionalism? Regionalism refers to the political, economic, or cultural cooperation and integration among countries or entities within a specific geographical region. So here are some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of regionalism: economic growth. Regional trade agreements can boost economic growth by facilitating the flow of goods, services, and investments among member countries. Political stability. Collaborative regional efforts can promote political stability by fostering diplomatic relations and resolving conflicts peacefully. Resource sharing. Regions can pool resources for common goals, such as infrastructure development, environmental protection, or disaster relief. Cultural exchange. Regionalism can encourage cultural exchange and understanding among member nations, leading to richer cultural diversity. Security. Regional security agreements can enhance collective defense against common threats, promoting peace and stability. The disadvantages of regionalism: exclusivity. Regional blocs may create divisions and exclusion, disadvantaging countries that are not part of the region and potentially leading to trade imbalances. Trade diversion. Regional trade agreements may divert trade away from more efficient global partners, resulting in suboptimal economic outcomes. Complex regulations. Regional trade agreements often come with complex, complex rules and regulations that can burden businesses with compliance costs. Loss of sovereignty. Joining regional organizations may require countries to cede some degree of sovereignty, which can be a contentious issue. Inefficiency. Some regional bodies can be inefficient due to bureaucracy, conflicting interests, or lack of coordination among member states. The impact of regionalism can vary greatly depending on the specific context and the objectives of the regional organization or agreement in question. It is essential to assess these factors carefully to determine whether regionalism is advantageous or not for a particular region or country.
Factors of regionalism. Movements demanding territorial autonomy within unitary states. Movements demanding territorial autonomy within unitary states are often political, social, or ethnic groups that seek a greater degree of self-governance and control over their local and regional affairs within the framework of a centralized unitary state. These movements typically arise due to various factors, including cultural, historical, economic, and political grievances. The second one is the organization of the central state on a regional basis for the delivery of its policies, including regional development policies. The organization of the central state on a regional basis for the delivery of its policies, including regional development policies, is often referred to as regionalization. Regionalization is a governance approach that involves structuring the central government administrative and policy delivery mechanisms in a way that recognizes and addresses the specific needs, characteristics, and challenges of different religions within the country. Lastly, political decentralization and regional autonomy. Political decentralization and regional autonomy are concepts in governance and political organization that involve the distribution of power and decision-making authority from a central government to regional or local entities. This concept can take various forms and have different implications depending on the specific context and goals of a country or religion.
New regionalism is a concept in international relations and economics that describes a shift in the dynamics of regional integration and cooperation among countries. It differs from traditional regionalism in that places a greater emphasis on economic and functional cooperation rather than primarily focusing on political and security issues. So, here are some cases and characteristics and aspects of new regionalism. First is functional cooperation. Besides trade, new regionalism may extend to functional cooperation in areas like environmental protection, healthcare, security, and cultural exchange. Next is focus on trade. Trade liberalization and market access are central themes of new regionalism. Regional trade agreements aims to promote the flow of goods, services, and investments among members of the states. Next is the economic integration. New regionalism revolves primarily around economic integration and cooperation. Countries within regions seek to enhance their economic ties through trade agreements, investments, facilitation, and the removal of trade barriers. So next is the global value chains. New regionalism often integrates countries into global value chains, where production processes span multiple countries, enhancing economic interdependence. So here are the examples of new regionalism. It includes the European Union, the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, and the North American Free Trade Agreement. So, globalization context. New regionalism often occurs in the context of globalization, where countries seek to adapt to global economic trends while maintaining regional identities and interests.
Regionalism in the Philippines refers to the strong attachment or loyalty that people in various regions of the country have to their specific geographic areas or provinces. It often manifests as a sense of local pride and identity, and it can influence politics, culture, and even economic development. The Philippines is composed of multiple regions, each with its own unique culture, traditions, and dialects. Regionalism can lead to a sense of rivalry or competition among different regions, which can impact national unity and political dynamics. It is important for the government and society to promote national duty and unity while respecting and celebrating the diversity of the country's regions. Here are some examples about regionalism in the Philippines. First, we have festivals. Each region in the Philippines has its own unique festivals and celebration that showcase their culture and tradition. For instance, the Sinulog Festival in Cebu, and the Panagbena Festival in Baguio, and the Kadayawan Festival in Davao. These festivals not only promote local pride but also attract tourists, contributing to regional economy. The second example is language and dialects. The Philippines is home to numerous languages and dialects like Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, and others are spoken in different regions. People often take pride in speaking their regional language, and their linguistic diversity can be a source of both unity and division. A third one is economic disparities. Regionalism can also be linked to economic disparities. Certain regions, such as Metro Manila, may have more economic opportunities and development compared to others. This can lead to migration from less prosperous regions to more affluent ones, contributing to regional imbalances. The last one is local traditions and customs. Different regions have their own traditional practices and customs, from cuisine to clothing. These regional differences contribute to the rich cultural tapestry of the Philippines, but can also lead to stereotypes and misconceptions about people from other regions.
And can have a significant impact on globalization, and these two processes are closely interconnected. Let's explore how regionalization affects globalization. First, supply chains and production networks. Regionalization can lead to the development of intricate supply chains and production networks within a region. These regional supply chains can be interconnected with global supply chains, allowing products to be produced and distributed more efficiently on global scale. This can increase the volume and diversity of goods traded internationally. Second, cultural and social exchange. Regionalization can facilitate cultural and social exchange within the specific geographic area. People from neighboring countries may share common languages, customs, and traditions, leading to increased cross-border interactions. These cultural and social ties can foster international cooperation and create networks extended beyond the region, contributing to globalization in terms of the flow of ideas, information, and people. Third, political and security cooperation. Regionalization can also involve political and security cooperation among countries in specific region. A stable and secure region is more conducive to globalization as it reduces the risk of conflicts and disruptions that can impede global trade and investment. Fourth is competition and innovation. Regionalization can lead to increased competition among firms within a region. This competition can drive innovation and productivity improvements as companies strive to remain competitive in both regional and global markets. Innovations developed within a region can spread globally, contributing to the overall advancement of technology and knowledge of global scale. The relationship between globalization and regionalization is complex and can vary depending on the specific regional context and the policies that is developed by countries within a region.